Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know these outside videos are a little bit awkward. I'm never really centered in the shot. It's a little tricky getting it just right, and the lighting is a little bit weird, but I just hate being indoors all day. And when I make these videos, I end up being indoors all day because I prep, film, edit, and do stuff in between. And so this is a way for me to have a lovely day off and bring you guys with me and talk about things. And in this video, I want to continue my series. I will be talking about the personal year number of 2. So I hope you guys enjoy it and kick back and relax, get some popcorn, make some tea, whatever suits your fancy. So in the last video, I talked about the personal year number 1, and I mentioned how I had just exited my personal year number of 1, and that this year in 2018 is my 2 year. So just like I had a lot to say about the 1 year because I just exited it, I will have a lot of personal things to talk about for this video as well. Now, I think that there's a pro and con to being like right at the beginning and in the midst of the year. The pro would be that I can get more detailed, that, you know, because I'm in the thick of it. But there's also a part of the bigger picture that is lost because I haven't finished it yet. So just keep that in mind, and even then I have a lot to say. So yeah, let's begin. So the vibration of 2 is very emotional, and so there is increased sensitivity to everything. The previous year you were running around trying to accomplish everything and get everything done in one night basically. And then the 2 year comes and you realize either consciously or subconsciously that this was an unbalanced way of living. It was necessary, but the 2, think of like 2 elements like yin and yang, for example, is all about balance. And so you're going to slow down significantly and regain your balance after running around like a chicken with your head cut off, whatever you were doing that year. So because of this, your emotional and mental health become a priority. I, for example, have just started the practice of the first thing that I do in the morning, before anything else, before, doing stuff in your computer or, doing something that you need to do for school or work or family life, whatever. I make it something that serves myself and helps my mental and emotional health. And it's a way for me to take the day back, because you're still going to be pulled in many different directions. Like, that's just how life is. That's not just the 1 year. Life can be extremely demanding no matter what circumstance that you're in. And so, especially in the 2 year, like, this is your year to take back control, decide, like, yes, all these hectic things are going on all the time, but I'm going to start putting my conscious intention towards becoming more balanced, serving my well-being, and then ultimately becoming more centered in my whole entire life as a result. And so because of this, personally, I'll have some more broader things to say about the 2 year, but personally, I feel myself becoming more selfish with my time and energy. I feel like I've kind of taken all my energy and pulled it inward, and I'm keeping it really, really close to me so that it's not influenced by external forces or circumstances. I feel less patient with abusive people or environments. I don't want to deal with it. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I just don't accept that as a part of my reality. And not to say that I have complete control over that. Like, you're just going to be put into some situations and be around people that are stressful and negative and abusive sometimes, unfortunately. but I'm not letting them or it's not necessarily a person, have power over me anymore. Kind of done with that. It feels a lot or very similar to the 7 year, which was not too far away from me and I remember very well. I also felt like drawing inward, but for the 7, it was on a mental level. For the 2, it's on an emotional level. So you're exhibiting a lot of the same attributes, the same characteristics and behaviors, but it's for completely different reasons during the 2. So I've come to the conclusion that self-care practices are extremely important during this year. And this includes very small things like chapstick and lotion, little comforts for whoever, whatever you like, having tea, could be anything, like small comforts throughout the day, but also big things like making sure you're hydrated or making sure you're getting enough sunlight. Things that you don't normally, I guess, think about from moment to moment, but should be, stop what you're doing to take a glass of water, stop what you're doing to go outside and sit in the sun for 15 minutes. These things are extremely important in the 2 year because we live our lives in such an imbalanced way. Which brings me to the next thing, because I have to admit I was dreading this year. I could feel the 2 coming and I didn't want to deal with it. I think the thing that made me angry the most is that the 2 year is supposed to be all about maintaining balance, but how is that possible? That was the question and still is the question that I have. How is balance even possible? The very essence, the very nature of this life, of this society as a human being is imbalanced. So I was hating this year. I did not want it to come. I was dreading everything about it because it felt like I was being forced through a tube, like an uncomfortable cylinder that I had to remain until God knows when, of just being pressurized and cooked and God, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just it felt that way because it's unfair. Like I have no control over how unbalanced it is. I have to work 5 out of 7 days a week. That's already unbalanced. I have to eat foods that I can afford, not that are the ultimate thing that I should be eating to, benefit my longevity and my overall health. It's not to say like that you're not going to get any rest and you're not going to eat any, healthy food and everything's bad, but it's just inherently cannot be balanced. Like there's going to be imbalance. And so because of the way that we live and because we don't choose ourselves and well-being over other things all the time, what happens or what can happen this year for a lot of people is that you get sick. You get sick all the time because your sensitivity is heightened. So something very simple can make you sick, but also you're just so not used to addressing yourself in this way and putting so much conscious energy into keeping yourself well. Another thing that I've switched my focus to and trying to maintain balance and move out of this hectic energy of the 1 year is single tasking, which is very difficult. And this is where I got this from. Hold on. Forgot to take it out. This book called Destination Simple. And it's on my iPhone, so it's backwards, so, But I actually posted a picture of this on Instagram, so if you like to see what I'm working with in this year, follow that account. I always leave all my accounts in the description. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that the thing with single tasking is the goal is to only focus on what you're doing while you're doing it and nothing else. You're not spreading your energies on 1,000 different things at the same time, which is so hard to do. That's kind of what I do naturally to begin with. And I think everyone does this. You know, we have 1,000 things to do at any given time, and so it's easy to do. We get into these habits of not multitasking, but for example, you know, I just hiked up this hill, this mountain, the side of a mountain, and it was really hard to just think about hiking up this frickin' mountain. You know, I was thinking about getting home, uploading the video, and video chatting with my friend, and you know, having dinner. What am I gonna have for dinner? Like, no. You do the thing, eventually that thing comes to a close, or it comes to a certain point where naturally you're in a flow state and you get to the point where, okay, now it feels natural to transition into the next thing, and you're in a rhythm, so you know what needs to happen next without having to overthink it over and over and over again. And the ironic thing about this is that you become more productive, perhaps even more productive than you were in the 1 year when you were trying to do everything all at once, because of this single tasking method, because you're completely immersed in the thing as you're doing it and not anything else. Another thing that single tasking does for us, rather than most likely become more productive, is that you do the thing better, but also most importantly, you don't neglect certain things like fresh air and the way that the sunlight and the breeze feels on your face and the sounds around you, and things that are supposed to be rejuvenating us but can't because we're spread so thin all the time. And so a great thing to develop this year, no matter who you are, is some sort of repetitive rhythmic routine that you start that addresses and takes care of your mental health and your emotional health. And this could be, you know, like Friday morning hikes with Jessica or Mike, you know, if you have a dude friend. And it could be literally anything. It could be starting a yoga class with a friend. It's just very important to have something to look forward to each week that will rejuvenate your body, mind, and spirit, simply put. Now, because 2 is all about emotions and love, it's very possible that if you're meant to start a romantic relationship, that it happens in this year. It's, you know, think about the number 2, 2 people, you know, it's a partnership. But aside from romance, all relationships in your life are going to be very important to you. Your friends are going to have a very important role in your life. I find that, you know, after the chaos of the 1 year and I'm starting to finally slow down, I'm like, what is everyone else doing? I'm starting to call people. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? You know, I want to know the details of your life and I want to know how you're feeling right now. And so make sure you reconnect with your loved ones and people that you care about, you know, because they are very important in this year. You know, as a human being, if you want to serve your emotional self, you're going to have people in your life, and you're going to want to spend real time either with them or caring about them. And this brings me to the next thing. While you are creating harmony in your life, you can eventually get to a point in this year where you can create harmony for others. But the key is that it starts with yourself. Like if you're naturally a giver, especially if you're a 2 or 4 or a 6 or an 8, this year might feel very natural to you. It should. It should feel very natural to you, and you're probably some sort of giver. And so naturally in this year, when you're moving into these energies, one of your impulses is to take care of everyone. But the thing is, like, you just can't create harmonization with your relationships and the people around you. Like, you can't create this safe, loving place before you do it for yourself. And this is very, like, this isn't some, you know, new wisdom here. Like, everyone knows that you cannot you fill someone else's cup when your cup is empty, you know. You cannot give when you have nothing to give and to begin with. So keep in mind that when you are helping yourself in this way, you're going to be a much better lover, a much better friend, a much better daughter, son, everything. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to bring that into light. I'm also finding that there's a lot of songs that I'm either using for my affirmations for this year or to help me through this year. Sorry. One is by Run River North, and one of their songs they say, "I've got my life to love, and I'm here to take what's mine." And so I haven't had like a firm affirmation for this year yet, but if I had to choose one, it would be that one. I started it saying last year actually. And so I just wanted to mention that because that might be very relatable for you if you're going through this year right now. I also took a few quotes from the book that I mentioned in the last video, which in advance I want to apologize to those who are watching every single one of these videos. I'm going to be very repetitious and mention and give credit to where credit is due with this book that I'm using, because not everyone is watching every single one of my videos and they need to know what I'm using, and I need to credit so I don't uh, plagiarize. So I'm using the book Life Cycles by Christine Delury, and I have chosen a few quotes like I did in the last video, and I will be doing that probably for the following videos. So I found three actually. Time is always short from birth to death. Why? Because we do not know how to stop. And you'll definitely be feeling that in the very beginning stages of this year. The next one is people tolerate, and the previous one was by Julian Green. Okay, and then the next one is people tolerate those they fear further than those they love by Edgar Watson and Howe. And that's very true. Not just people. People, for whatever reason, choose fear over love all the time. They choose things that are not benefiting them over things that are benefiting them in their health all the time. And so that's something to meditate on this year. Next one is how shall we expect charity towards others when we are uncharitable to ourselves? And that's basically what I was explaining before with how you need to create harmony in your life so that you can do that for others. So as I was saying before, in regards to how this year can actually be more productive than the previous year, the book that I was reading actually explains the mechanism in which this happens. And I took a quote from Christine Delury. She says, "When you learn to live moment to moment, you'll understand that the present is your only exit from the past and your only gateway to the future." You see, at this point in our lives and throughout our whole lives, we tend to repress things. Things get pushed aside because we're too busy, or we just don't want to deal with them because we don't make our emotions a priority. And so this serves as a huge obstacle in our life, and it can slow us down, because if you're not dealing things as they come up, they don't just disappear, they accumulate, and then all of a sudden you find it hard to do something that isn't normally hard. And so actually I have a personal example of this. I didn't realize this until this morning while I was, thinking about making this video and taking notes on it. What I think will be a challenge for me. Whoa, butterflies. Sorry. I realized that one of the truths that I have been repressing is that I'm a writer. My natural state of being involves waking up every day, meditating, making a smoothie. But, after that, after doing those things, is journaling. And it's my natural inclination as well to create, and I have repressed that because I also have made, I also have the need for independence, which requires financial stability, which does not come from being a writer. And so I have pushed the self aside, and have become something that I'm not over time, out of necessity and nothing else. I'm dealing with this year, and sitting in the emotions of the death of this self, since this self is just simply cannot be, at least not right now. When I actually process this, I think that I will be able to make a decision that will positively impact not only myself but my future, which brings me actually to the next portion of this message. The 2 year goes way beyond just this year, just last year and the next year. Because of the depth of what truly emotional and mental health is, you can make this year the year where you are able to understand free will, finally. Something that was frustratingly way too far away in the first year. It just was a battle of trying to be the best, right? Understanding free will, and therefore understanding choice. What choices do I have, really? This way or that way? Left or right? Option 1, option 2. We got 2 options. You might have like 7 options. I don't know. It depends on your circumstance, but so I'm going to try to sum up this year, even though I am in the thick of it. But if you ask me right now, based on what I have felt so far, not thought, but felt so far, and from what I understand mentally about the vibration of 2, is that it's a time to try and really get grounded in what home is. What energies do you want to feed to create harmony in your life? And so with that, as the sun finally decides to come out at the end of my video, I will wrap this video up with more lyrics from the song that I took from earlier in this video by Run River North. There's a fight to be won for the love you find at home. Work to be done before you rest your weary bones. I'm finding peace don't come to everyone I know, so I will love in this life until I finally have to go. I love every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you very soon.